I would stand on the benches and sing, and I wanted everybody to listen to me. You know, I was really upset if somebody left. Nice to see
you. Behind Nashville's rhinestone sparkle lies a maze of neon alleys, where gossip has always hummed louder than fiddles. The official history sells tidy storybooks filled with church-going singers and polite award shows. But seasoned roadies swap very different tales after the crowd files out. They speak of hush-money envelopes sliding across Formica tables, of grudges that could derail a career with 2 phone calls, of passions that burned so hot the stage lights looked dim by comparison. Today we blow the sawdust off those stories. What follows is a parade of 21 whispered scandals from country's so-called golden age. Rumors so persistent they have outlived the stars themselves. Some are probably exaggerated, others may be downright false, yet each rumor dangles a key that might unlock a deeper truth about how fame, ambition, and desire twist together in Music City. Lean in and listen close. You might never hear these legends the same way again. Our journey opens with the night Tammy staggered into a Nashville emergency room in 1978, claiming a masked man forced her into a car at gunpoint. Newspapers ran banner headlines. Television stations interrupted programming to breathlessly update viewers on every bruise. Yet detectives soon found holes wide enough for a tour bus to roar through. Some fans insist the abduction was staged to hide fresh marks from domestic turmoil. Others think it masked a breakdown that threatened Wynette's fragile superstar image. Whatever the cause, the spectacle worked. Record sales spiked. But revenge soon entered stage right. After the country power couple divorced, George Jones allegedly weaponized his network of program directors to throttle Tammy's radio play out of spite. Managers recall last-minute cancellations, suspiciously cold shoulders, and a sudden drop in chart rotations whenever George's whiskey drawl drifted through a control booth. If true, the saga proves that in Nashville, a broken heart could be turned into a battering ram just as easily as a ballad. Crooked funding whispered through the smoke-filled clubs where Conway Twitty first crooned. Longtime bartenders swear envelopes thicker than a Christmas ham landed in his dressing room, courtesy of gentlemen whose tailored suits hid brass-knuckle intentions. Twitty's defenders call the mob money rumor fantasy, yet nightclub ledger gaps keep conspiracy fires stoked. Another outlaw, Merle Haggard, fueled just as many side-of-mouth conversations. He left San Quentin sooner than expected, and some inmates swore Haggard earned early parole by tipping wardens to escape plots and contraband stashes. Merle brushed it off in interviews. "I wrote, 'Mama tried, not Mama spied,'" he joked. But the claim still rides shotgun on every tour bus playlist, a reminder that even the most rugged outlaw might have cut a backstage deal to regain daylight. Mob whispers weren't confined to one crooner. During the 50s and early 60s, Nashville clubs sat squarely on trucking routes that mob families used to move everything from slot machines to bootleg liquor. A singer who needed a fast influx of cash could strike a handshake deal faster than a bank would process a loan application, and repayment rarely came in neat monthly installments. Conway's early itinerary shows several residencies at clubs later cited in federal racketeering cases, and backstage photographs reveal unfamiliar faces in tailored sharkskin suits standing just outside the spotlight. One former guitarist remembers seeing a violin case stuffed with fresh banknotes instead of an instrument. He assumed it belonged to the band until a man with a Brooklyn accent snapped the lid shut and whispered, "Insurance for the kid's career." Whether Conway knew or merely benefited, the rumor illustrates how intertwined music and muscle could be when jukeboxes and pinball machines fed the same cash registers. Meanwhile, Merle's informant tale gains texture when you learn that prison wardens sometimes recruited talented inmates as morale boosters, promising perks for tips that kept riots at bay. If Merle traded songs for secrets, he may have believed art itself could buy freedom. A poetic yet unsettling bargain. Sabotage can hide behind a smile as dazzling as Dolly Parton's. Industry lore says that whenever a newcomer crept too close to Dolly's chart position, Anonymous cash surfaced at key radio stations, with the unspoken understanding that looping Dolly's latest single would bump rivals into static. Proof is scarce. Dolly's public image is Teflon. Still, a former marketing rep recalls certain weeks in the 70s when Jolene seemed to spin every hour while hot competitors vanished overnight. If Dolly was fighting fire with fire, she learned from her on-time mentor Porter Wagoner. After she quit his television show, insiders claim Porter leveraged every handshake he had pocketed to keep her off primetime specials. The freeze-out failed, of course, but the idea of Porter quietly icing Dolly's ascent adds extra ache to "I Will Always Love You." Jealousy also brewed between Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson long before they bonded over outlaw anthems. Label executives whispered that Waylon lobbied against signing Willie, calling his folk-leaning style a commercial risk. Years later, the two laughed about it over tequila, yet each harmony they sang afterwards sounded like a public apology set to a steel-string groove. Barbara Mandrell carried one of country's squeakiest images, yet roadies smirk when someone mentions Mandrell time. They describe concerts ending in fireworks of applause, then a quick backstage transformation as Barbara supposedly traded her wholesome smile for wilder appetites. Tales talk of dressing room doors locked from the inside, bourbon bottles drained, and guitars leaning at odd angles like they'd been used for more than music. No photographs ever emerged, but the rumor refuses to die, maybe because the contrast between Sunday school perfection and midnight mischief is too delicious for the imagination to surrender. Those smoke-heavy, neon-lit back rooms birthed an entire subculture of after-show indulgence. Stagehands talked about the hour of handshakes, that magical stretch after a concert when amp buzz still hung in the air and anything seemed negotiable. Managers arranged distribution deals while drummers flirted with journalists over lukewarm beer. Prescription bottles rattled like maracas, cannabis clouds curled beneath no smoking signs, and every corner held a story waiting to leap onto tomorrow's gossip column. Within this carnival stood Barbara Mandrell, haloed by her God-fearing image, yet rumored to walk those corridors with a daredevil grin. Eyewitness accounts vary. Some swear she simply enjoyed post-show jam sessions. Others claim they heard laughter echoing from locked rooms until sunrise. Regardless, the rumors expose a larger truth. Country's moral facade relied on the assumption that fans would never see past the curtain. That curtain, made of velvet and PR spin, frayed a little more each time Mandrell time became the punchline to a bawdy joke shared over stale coffee at loadout. Little Miss Dynamite Brenda Lee exploded onto the charts while still in her teens, and gossip insists an affair with a much older married producer provided the dynamite. Hotel ledgers from distant cities allegedly list adjoining rooms and late-night champagne orders. Historians cringe at the power imbalance, yet the whispers linger in bar conversations half a century later. Glenn Campbell, meanwhile, wore his charm like a well-pressed suit, but backstage murmurs claimed he fathered a child with a backup singer, mailing quiet checks every Christmas to keep the tabloids clueless. Asked about it, Glenn flashed a grin and said, "I've got more hits than secrets," an answer that satisfies nobody while leaving everything possible. Lyrics many fans tattoo on their hearts might not come from the pens they imagine. Loretta Lynn built her legend on first-hand tales of coal country struggle, yet skeptics argue male producers rewrote her verses to make them pop radio friendly before pressing vinyl. Handwriting analysts even claim demo sheets show different styles on crucial lines. Tammy Wynette fares no better in rumorland. Some critics insist her signature heartbreak hits were sweatshop creations of ex-husbands and studio songwriters looking for a guaranteed payday. If so, the Queen of Broken Hearts spent years serenading the world with words forged by the very men who sometimes fractured her own. Songwriting, often romanticized as divine inspiration, sometimes resembled an assembly line. On Music Row, small bungalows hid tape machines whirring day and night while teams of writers hammered hooks into 3-minute masterpieces. A 1969 memo from a major label, leaked years later, lists Tammy Wynette as the vocalist for 4 tracks whose composers remain in flux, a polite phrase for ghostwriters awaiting payoff. Contracts allowed producers to funnel royalty percentages to silent partners, and singers commissioning those songs had every incentive to keep the arrangement discreet. Loretta Lynn's defenders argue collaboration was standard, not deception, but skeptics respond that marketing sold these women as lone poetic warriors, scribbling by kerosene lamp between farm chores. When the real process involves men in polyester grinding out chorus tweaks for radio algorithms, fans feel a betrayal deeper than any minor key modulation. The tension between authenticity and product is baked into every gold record hanging in a corporate hallway, gleaming proof that illusion can be profitable if the melody is sweet enough. Bobby Gentry retreated from public life so completely after Ode to Billy Joe that her disappearance became its own cottage industry. The juiciest theory claims she never disappeared at all. She simply adopted new aliases and sold hit songs from the shadows. Some swear they hear her voice buried in backing tracks of modern chart toppers, like a ghost singer paid to haunt someone else's credits. Another beloved figure, Minnie Pearl, might have been the biggest character actor in country history. Comedians who shared smoky club bills with her said the price tag hat went into a suitcase the second she left the stage, replaced by silk scarves and a vocabulary sharpened at a prestigious college. They insist her down-home yodel was an invention polished as carefully as any script, proof that in Nashville, authenticity can be as carefully manufactured as any rhinestone costume. Country's uneasy dance with race surfaces in whispers about piano-pounding Charlie Rich. Although his sound blended soulful licks, backstage talk labeled him resentful of integration, claiming he muttered slights at black crossover artists during late-night parties. Friends deny it, but the contrast between public groove and alleged private grumble keeps researchers scouring archived interviews. Even Elvis Presley, hailed as the king, reportedly dismissed country music as hillbilly trash once studio doors shut. Engineers recall him rolling eyes during pedal steel overdubs, only lighting up when the drummer locked into a gospel shuffle. His disdain didn't hurt sales, yet it hints the genre's crown prince may have secretly loathed the very throne he occupied. Race, politics, and country music have always tangled like guitar cables on a dark stage. Charlie Rich allegedly scoffed at integrated lineups, yet paradoxically borrowed chord progressions from Memphis soul. That contradiction mirrors a broader discomfort in an industry that thrived on African-American musical innovations while rarely welcoming black artists to headline slots. In 1975, when Charlie infamously set fire to an envelope announcing John Denver's Entertainer of the Year win, critics called it a protest against pop dilution, but others whispered it was coded rage at shifting cultural tides he could no longer control. Elvis's alleged hillbilly trash comment may reflect similar insecurity. A superstar tired of being boxed into a genre gatekeepers dismissed as rural novelty even as it made them rich. Understanding these tensions doesn't excuse them, yet it highlights how fear of losing status can fuel harsh words that survive as unsourced quotes decades later. Publicists sold an image of sisterhood between Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, framing every promo photo like a postcard from best friends. But wardrobe assistants whisper a different truth. Snide comments about who wore sequins better, icy silence when award nominations lean toward one side, side-stage elbow jabs over vocal runs. Alleged diary entries reference jealousy so sharp it could cut through a steel string. Whether the feud was real or not, the possibility casts a new hue over their duets, turning honeyed harmonies into veiled showdowns only dogs and die-hard fans can still hear. Tempers sometimes jumped from metaphor to flame. Jerry Lee Lewis, famous for trashing pianos, allegedly marched into a Nashville studio with a gasoline can after executives refused to release a track they deemed scandalous. Workers say he sloshed fuel across velvet rugs before security wrestled the can away, leaving damp fumes that lingered for days. The entrance rug was supposedly never replaced, a scar woven into the floor as a warning to stubborn producers. Farron Young's shadows were colder. Only after his death did multiple women accuse him of threats and fists behind locked bus doors. Some claim he dangled stage spots in exchange for what he called private rehearsals, souring every note of "Hello Walls" with echoes of intimidation. Jealousy found new fuel when June Carter watched admirers swarm Johnny Cash. Roadies claim she regularly intercepted fan letters, shredding some and responding to others in Johnny's name to keep certain admirers at arm's length. The most explosive rumor, however, orbits Johnny himself. During medicine cabinet binges of pills and coke, insiders murmur that he blurred lines and experimented with male companions away from paparazzi flashbulbs. No confession, no photographs, only faint signatures in motel registries that match road crew aliases. True or false, the notion folded another layer of outlaw mystique into Cash's already complex image, proving a legend can grow even thornier when wrapped in unanswered questions. In the streaming era, these rumors have found fresh oxygen. Podcast hosts dissect faded newspaper clippings like Zapruder frames, YouTube channels animate shadowy reenactments, and social media feeds churn speculation into viral snippets that rack up millions of views before breakfast. Ironically, the digitized archive makes it easier than ever to fact-check, yet the hunger for sensational twists keeps myths a step ahead of metadata. A TikTok clip claiming to reveal Bobby Gentry's current alias can reach more ears in an hour than a regional radio tour did in 1967. Every share button acts as a modern campfire where storytellers trade half-remembered anecdotes, adding new adjectives until the tale glows brighter than anything notarized. As algorithms reward attention, the line between historian and gossip monger blurs. Still, there's value in the obsession. Each new debate sends curious ears back to dusty records, ensuring the music itself, crackles, tape hiss, and all, continues to live. Perhaps the most revealing detail is how many stars quietly encourage their own rumors. Publicists leaked provocative hints to columnists they trusted, counting on strategic scandal to spike ticket sales. A dramatic kidnapping tale? Perfect for a slow news week. Hints of mob money? Proof your act was dangerous enough to matter. Even a rumor of forbidden liaisons could expand an audience hungry for thrill. The dance is delicate. Too much controversy damages sponsorships. Too little leaves you bland in a crowded lineup. Artists became tightrope walkers, balancing morality clauses against the knowledge that outrage sells. Dolly's rumored radio payoffs, if they ever happened, might reflect this calculus, a little secret grease in the machine to ensure longevity, all while projecting a saintly grin big enough to dazzle anyone who might ask inconvenient questions. When modern listeners judge these tactics, they should remember the era's limited avenues for visibility. A 3-minute spin on AM radio could mean the difference between a mortgage payment and a pawn shop guitar. Rumor, then, wasn't just idle chatter. It was career insurance bought with whispers for hungry fans. What do these swirling rumors really mean? Strip away the rhinestones and gospel choruses, and you find artists wrestling with the same urges, fears, and ambitions as any soul, only amplified by microphones and bright lights. Their off-stage chaos seeped into the music. Heartbreak sounded real because heartbreak burned backstage. Rebellion rang true because deals were struck with devils most fans never met. Even the possibility that a hit chorus was ghost-written or a career padded by mob cash doesn't diminish the goosebumps when the needle meets the groove. Instead, it reminds us that art is rarely pure. It is forged in pressure cookers where sin and genius simmer together, creating flavors polite society pretends not to taste. If today's ride down rumor road left you hungry for more, tap that subscribe bell like a snare drum, share this story with the friend who keeps a Patsy Cline vinyl framed on their wall, and spill your boldest theory in the comments. Did Minnie Pearl collect Impressionist paintings? Was Merle's early release ratting or rumor? Is there a forgotten reel in some climate-controlled vault featuring Loretta humming a demo tagged, "Not written by me"? Legends are living puzzles. Every new listener provides another piece. Keep digging, keep questioning, and remember, in Nashville, Myths age like bourbon, sweeter, stronger, and far more dangerous in the dark. And if nobody uncorks those tales, we'll keep turning the record, listening for cracks where truth still hums late night.